have always loved blueberry muffins from the box, but they're artificially colored, they're full of preservatives, and they're not the kind of thing we eat anymore. So what do you do instead? Today, I'm gonna show you how to make a version of homemade wild blueberry muffins that are nutritious, filling, and so much better for your body. Join me in the kitchen, I'll show you how to do it. To make these, here's what you're gonna need. We've got a cup and a half of frozen wild blueberries because in the winter, we do not use regular fresh blueberries, blackberries, or raspberries. They're out of season, so frozen and wild to get the best health benefits. So there's that. We've got some coconut sugar. We're gonna use this instead of white sugar in this recipe, but if you wanna use white, that's perfectly fine. A lot of sour cream, melted butter, and we've got flour, baking soda, and salt back here. If your family's not used to a heavier flour like a whole wheat flour or an oat flour, go ahead and use all-purpose because those small changes are going to add up over time. Perfectly fine to use what your family will adjust to. Whisk up our dry ingredients, our salt, baking powder, and flour. I'm going to drop that in this bowl back here, and I'm going to set it out of the way. And we're going to start making our wet mixture. So drop your sugar into a bowl. Coconut sugar does not taste like coconut, and it only has half the glycemic index of regular, so that means it only spikes your blood sugar half as much. So drop your egg in there, and then whisk that around until you kind of get everything in. And then we're going to add a little bit of butter, just in a couple of additions. Gently work that in. Whoops. Fling it everywhere. Okay, and then the rest of it. Use real butter in your kitchen. I am not a fan of tub butters or oily butters, so make sure that if you're using a real butter, it's better for your body. Okay, we've got the butter in, and now this is the rest of all there is for the wet ingredients is a whole bunch of sour cream. This is actually 1.25 cups of sour cream. We're gonna put about half of that in. We'll do it in pieces here. Whisk that in. If you would like to use a Greek yogurt here, or maybe you're dairy-free and you have a dairy-free alternative sour cream you want to use, perfectly fine. It's so nice to have a healthy breakfast alternative for your family. And if you've been used to eating more carb-loaded breakfasts like cereal or French toast sticks, anything like that, this will be a nice change. So back into our flour. Let's go ahead and add these frozen berries. Now, frozen because if they were thawed, they're gonna let out all their liquid and you're gonna have purple muffins. So we're just gonna keep them frozen. It's gonna work fine. Toss them in the flour with your hands so that they don't sink to the bottom. Let's get our wet into our dry. And we're gonna gently stir this together. Okay. And then you're gonna fold this just the best you can. You might break your berries up a little bit, that's okay. You might end up with some purple streaks, that's also okay. And this is an extremely thick batter because we don't have a lot of wet ingredients in here. That's all right too. Don't overmix it, avoid that temptation because the more you mix flour, the tougher you're gonna make your muffins. So we're just trying to get the biggest pockets of flour in. So we end up with something that looks more like a dough than it looks like a muffin batter, but that's okay because you're going to end up with a really dense, really nutrient-rich alternative to those nasty breakfasts. So all we're going to do is drop these into our muffin tin, and I'm going to use, of course, an ice cream scoop. Totally optional, not necessary. If you don't have one, just use a spoon. Fill these about 3/4 of the way full. I mean, I do everything by eyeball. If it's to the top, that's okay too. Get that in, fill it all the way up, and we're gonna put them in the oven for 20 to 25 minutes. And when they come out, we can dip them in a little bit of melted butter, put a little cinnamon sugar on them, or get them ready to go right into the freezer. So I'll be back with you just a little bit to show you what they look like. To check out more in our Stock Your Freezer, to check out more of our Stock Your Freezer breakfast series, you can check out this playlist I've got right here, and I'll see you in the next video.